The following program contains shockingly brilliant insights. If you suffer from a lack of dark sunglasses, Randall may not be right for you. Check with your optometrist.
Speaking the truth when others hold their tongues. Wrestling for justice with left-wingers and crocodiles. Resisting the temptation to keep the peace at any price. The only talk show host who writes his own theme music, Randall Terry.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the program. Did you know that every single insult we put up there is actually an insult that we pull from the internet that's against me? And believe me, there are hundreds of them. What good are you if you're not ticking off the right people? A man is not only known by his friends, he's known by his enemies. Who hates you, friend? In today's program, we're going to talk about the politics behind Ron Paul's appointment, finally, to a position of power. And we'll talk about the Virginia federal court judge who struck down a portion of Obamacare. Today's program brought to you in part by the Republican leadership, who finally gave Ron Paul a position of power. Hey, a broken clock is right twice a day. And by Attorney General from Virginia, Ken Cuccinelli, who gave Obama his first black eye in court. Let's go to Rusty Cowpoke, and then we're going to plow through the politics of the Ron Paul appointment.
Hey, a long time no see. Randall, if you run for president and you show your graphic pro-life TV ads, some child-killing crazies are probably gonna hunt you down. You think the Alamo got shot up, or you just wait. But don't you worry, Randall, because I'm fixing to fortify my property. Gonna get me a high-powered generator, gonna double the voltage on my electric fence. You can come down here, hunker down with me.
Welcome to the program, friend. It is I, your servant, Randall. By the way, if you believe most of what you see on television, the mainstream media, and if you believe most of what you read in the mainstream media press, you've got to be taking these stupid pills. Yes, stupid pills. It's the journalist's best friend when it comes to reporting the news, even more important to the White House secretary. Eat them early, eat them often. I'll tell you, I enjoy my fill every day. It's the only way that I can make the world go around. They look suspiciously like white chocolate. Don't be fooled. These really are stupid pills. They taste great. They're less filling, and it makes the world a better place to live. Now, in movies, when an actor takes something into their mouth, they take a bite, and then the camera cuts away, and they spit them out. So I'm going to spit mine out, only I'm not going to do it in a cutaway. Just kidding. I wouldn't want to waste the delicious intellectual goodness of a stupid pill. You've got to take stupid pills to believe in socialism. You have to take stupid pills to believe that you can force your neighbor to work for you and call it freedom or call it justice. And that is exactly what is happening with the Republican Party leadership. Yeah, forget Obama. The Republican Party leadership. Oh, how dare I say that? Well, let it play out over the next 2 years, okay? You just watch. Tea Party friends, just watch. You're going to see the Republican leadership maintain 80 to 90% of the federal plantation, while they tell you at the same time that they have freed you from the clutches of greed of Uncle Sam and Uncle Barry. That's Obama. So when the Republicans are telling you that, make sure you bring these to the party. Stupid pills. Now the news. As you know, Ron Paul has been made the chairman of the House Subcommittee on Domestic Monetary Policy. This appointment came, without question, with the approval of House Speaker-to-be John Boehner. I want to tell you something. It was a move of political genius on Boehner's part. Oh, political genius? John Boehner? I didn't think he was all that bright. Hey, you've got to give the devil his due. And John Boehner is nothing if he is not a shrewd political creature. What I want to do for the next couple minutes is talk with you about the benefits to John Boehner and to the Republican Party for appointing Ron Paul to this position of power. Now, for those of you who don't understand the significance of it, and by the way, it is significant, Ron Paul heads a subcommittee that has the subpoena power to bring Bernanke, the head of the Treasury Department, the head of the Fed, rather, to bring him before the subcommittee to testify about what the Fed is doing. He can also order an audit of what the Fed is doing. All right, so this is a very significant role. And Ron Paul wrote a book called End the Fed. He wants to close down America's central bank. He doesn't want to trim it. He doesn't want to modify it. He wants to get rid of it. So putting Ron Paul in that position was, for many people, like a political frag, a political bomb. You got to be kidding me. Ron Paul, of all people. But I've been thinking about it. It was an incredibly shrewd move on Boehner's part. Let me tell you why. Number one, politically, he acknowledges the power of the Tea Party movement. Ron Paul is a hero to Tea Party activists. And number two, he acknowledges the power of the libertarian movement. Listen, when Ron Paul ran for president, he raised more money in one day, $5 million, a money bomb they called it. He raised more money in one day than any candidate for president in the history of America. Okay? Boehner recognizes the power of the moolah. And when he looks at Ron Paul, he says, all right, there is somebody that can be a problem to me, or there is somebody that I can bring into my circle. As Abraham Lincoln said, keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. Number three, Boehner acknowledges that Ron Paul's arguments are not crazy. There's a lot of people out there that want to pretend that Ron Paul's arguments about the Fed and about foreign policy are crazy. Now, I'm not saying he kills two birds with one stone here, because I don't agree with a lot of what Ron Paul says on foreign policy, and I think he's missing a fundamental Augustinian ethic, morals applied to foreign policy. The very concept of just war seems to have escaped Ron Paul on a number of occasions. His foreign policy aside, his views on the Constitution, the constitutional authority of Congress to spend money where they can and where they cannot spend money, and his demand for sound money or real money instead of fiat money, Boehner has said, hey, his arguments aren't all that crazy. So that's a very shrewd move on Boehner's part. Number four, this is a really big one. It's an insurance policy against Tea Party rage. Listen to me. Boehner fears the Tea Party, as he should. By getting Ron Paul into a position of power, he buys himself an insurance policy against the political rage of the Tea Party activists in 2012. He will be able to say, look, I put one of your key guys in here. I'm one of you. Now, it's even more shrewd than that. Ready? Number five. Boehner, I beg your pardon. I'm having a hard time reading my own writing. Boehner gives Ron Paul enough rope to hang himself or to hang the Fed. Either way, it's a win for Boehner. If Ron Paul hangs himself, Boehner can say to the Tea Party movement, look, I put one of your heroes in, and he messed up. That's not my fault. I tried to work with you people. If Ron Paul ends up exposing the Fed and setting the wheels in motion to curtail it greatly or to eliminate it altogether, Boehner can say, look at the wisdom that we had to put him in this position of power. So for Boehner, this is win, 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 win. He is a shrewd dude, ladies and gentlemen. I have to take a break. When we come back, I want to talk to you about the decision in the federal court out of Virginia against the Obama health care plan. And frankly, I want to be a little bit of a voice of reason. Don't get too excited about this decision. Do not get too excited about it. I'll tell you why when I come back.
I've just had my first cold in 5 years. And Randall made the mistake of asking me how I felt. I said, with my fingers, of course.
Moments with Moses. And if by this discipline you are not turned to me, but walk contrary to me, then I will walk contrary to you, and I myself will smite you sevenfold for your sins.
Welcome back to the program, friend. Let's go to more news. Federal Circuit Judge Henry Hudson ruled that an American citizen cannot be compelled to buy health insurance. What? I thought that all federal judges were always wrong. Well, no, in this case, this judge got it right. And I do believe that there are a few good men on the bench. Let's hope that they get up to the Supreme Court where they can join Scalia and Thomas. Anyway, on with the story. The Obama administration has been sued, or is in the process of being sued, in 25 states right now, where various attorneys general are saying that this bill, for any number of reasons, is unconstitutional. At points in this particular lawsuit were several issues. The one that the judge latched onto was whether or not the government can compel you to buy something and then penalize you if you don't buy it. The judge said, and I quote, "This dispute is not simply about regulating the business of insurance or crafting a scheme of universal health insurance coverage. It's about an individual's right to choose to participate." Judge Hudson also said that the law opens the door to, and I quote, "unbridled exercise of federal police powers." Well, what else do you think can compel socialism to work? The whole federal plantation works because of federal police powers. You will participate, or we will put you in the clink. So, let me read to you one other interesting tidbit. Aetna Insurance and WellPoint Insurance, also who were opposed to Obama's health care originally, have said, well, if you're going to have this big extension and expansion of health care, then you've got to compel people to buy from us because we need to offset the cost. They actually said this. They need to have more customers to offset the costs. This is like General Motors saying to the government, we need car care. Everyone in America has a constitutional right to have their own car. And we're in trouble financially, so we need you to bail us out. Oh, been there, done that. And now, to offset certain costs and to help underwrite this great expansion of driving privileges, we need you to compel people to buy Chevys and to buy Cadillacs and to buy GMC trucks. Think for just a minute of the demonic insanity, and I say those words with surgical precision, the demonic insanity of forcing you to buy something. And then if you refuse to buy it, you are penalized. You are fined. And the judge went out of his way to say, look, don't try and sell this as a tax. One minute you say it's a tax, and in the next minute in the same bill, you say it's a penalty or a fine. Well, a fine and a tax are not the same thing. And what the federal government is trying to do in this situation is literally put a gun to our head and say, hey, you're healthy. Hey, you don't want to participate in a health insurance program. You have money set aside and you can be self-funded, whatever it is. We're going to fine you if you don't participate. When are they going to say this? We're going to jail you. Because what if you refuse to pay the fine? I mean, that's what they do at the IRS. If you don't pay your taxes, they fine you, they charge you penalties and interest, and then what? If you keep saying, I'm not paying, what do? They put you in jail. Is the Obama administration suggesting that people go to jail who refuse to participate in their federal insurance program? If we don't want to be a part of the slave labor force on the plantation or a part of the house slaves Always remember this, and I'm going to go to my next break. Not everyone in the plantation worked out in the fields. There were some house slaves. They wore nice clothes. They got to handle fine china, got to open the doors and bow at the waist to the important people that came in. There are people in the federal plantation who do quite well with the current scheme, as long as the riffraff out there, you and I, agree to pay the man. I'll pay you. Please don't lock me up in the clink. Just let me have some semblance of freedom where I can wander about across the face of the earth, as long as I give you half of my income and agree to buy your paltry insurance so that I'll be well. Will you make me well? I got to take a break. I'll be right back.
All right.
Traitor like he is?
Lena Kagan. She's a baby killer of the first order. A little more, oh God.
There are two places where socialism will work. In heaven, where it is not needed, and in hell, where they already have it. Sir Winston Churchill.
Welcome to the program, friend. I want you to go to BoehnerTeaParty.com. You see it there on the screen, BoehnerTeaParty.com, and read the Tea Party petition and the pro-life demands that we have submitted to His Excellency, the soon-to-be Speaker of the House, John Boehner. All kidding aside, on January the 3rd, we begin the first 100 days you're on probation. I have watched with a lot of dismay how the pro-life movement acts when the pro-life party, read Republican, when the pro-life party comes into power. When the Democrats are in power, the pro-life movement raises money, raises a little bit of cane, and says, oh, we've got to do what we can to get the Republicans back in power. When the Republicans are in power, the pro-life movement becomes like the docile little kitten in Shrek. Please, could I just get a photograph with you? Could I just tell my constituents that we met and that we're devising a plan to get the funding of abortion out of health care and call it the greatest victory since the pro-life movement began? We lose our teeth, we lose our edge, we lose our will to fight. I've been in this fight for a long time, okay? Our mission is to end child killing. Our mission is to end socialism. Our mission is to restore constitutional government, to restore a republic that is not a socialist plantation. And that means you have to fight. You have to fight. The people in office have to fear you. And if they don't fear you, then they laugh at you. They scoff at you. They mock you behind your back. They think you're a joke. They think that you are a sheep to be sheared. Yes, line up for your federal masters so they can shear the wool off of you, so that they can do what they want with that wool and buy more votes. We're going to have 100 days here in our nation's capital, going day after day, after day after day, for 100 days, down to Capitol Hill, tormenting them, interviewing them, holding their feet to the fire, asking them, hey, are you guys planning on giving money to baby killers? Have you defunded Obama's death agenda? Have you overturned health care yet? Never mind tinkering on the end, around the edges. Overturn it. We're going to hold them accountable. And you know what we want to do? We want to invite you. Join us. Come to D.C. Yeah. Go to terrycast.com and find out about the activities that we have going on. terrycast.com. And if at all possible, join us. All right? They must fear you. Otherwise, they will hold you in contempt. I'll take a break and I'll be right back.
A 1,000 may fall at your side, 10,000 at your right hand, but it will not come near you. You will only look with your eyes and see the recompense of the wicked.
James Madison said, "The people of the United States owe their independence and their liberty to the wisdom of seeing in the minute tax of 3 pence on tea the magnitude of the evil comprised in the precedent. Let them exert the same wisdom in watching against every evil lurking under plausible disguises and growing up from small beginnings." If we don't crush Obamacare, we will be consumed by it.